Hi everyone, it's the Sussex Rider here, Nick, and I'm out and about just below Devil's Dyke near Brighton, in the distance on the hills over there. And then what we've got is over there westbound towards Worthing, and if you went on forever, of course, you'd end up in Land's End in Cornwall. On the other side of these hills you've got Brighton down there, and then going over there towards Eastbourne and Kent and Dover and all those areas. So I'm at the foot of the South Downs, and I'm going to head through the village of Fulking. That's Fulking, in case you were wondering. Fulking. Nice little place, tiny little village, nice pub. Not a lot else, but hey, they're at the foot of the South Downs, they probably don't need a lot else. So let's go exploring. I've got my showy helmet on, my action camera in the usual position. So let's see how we get on. And the battery's charged. Alright. Sheep are out. Wow, lovely old church. I haven't been in this pub for quite a while, but it's a nice pub, the Royal Oak. And there's a public footpath up the top to the South Downs, up to Devil's Dyke, a very popular area, very busy at the top. But of course you get great views on a day like today, you'd see for miles of course. So well worth a hike. Especially if you had a few beers in the pub, that'll sober them up. So here we go, out of the village. Sweeping country lanes. Oh yeah, look at this, eh? Lovely. Oh. There's something about riding a motorcycle, isn't there, everybody? Ah, fantastic. Can't beat it. I have my father to thank for his enthusiasm of bikes. He'd ridden bikes. His dad had ridden bikes. Got some great pictures of them on old bikes. Dad had an Indian. Then he put a sidecar on it for Mum. And they went everywhere. And as soon as we turned 16, Dad bought me a moped. Then he got me interested into bikes, and I saved up and got myself a Honda 250, and the rest is history, really. Never stopped riding. I don't know how many of my listeners are bikers or just interested in Sussex on its own, but if you haven't ridden a bike, honestly, Get out there and try it. You will love it. It'll change your life. Clappers Lane. That's hilarious. The village of Fulking and Clappers Lane. Someone had some great imagination putting these names together, didn't they? Lovely thatched cottage there. Oh, that's another pub. I've never been in there, but that looks very popular, doesn't it? Wow. Everybody's walking up the South Downs today. Decent weather. Couple of beers and off they go for their walks. Now, talking of motorcycles and my love of them, this is a terrible story really, but I was very young and naive, and I was going out with a very, very nice girl. She's going to kill me if she ever listens to this. And we've been going out quite a few years, and we really, we got on really well together, no problems at all. But it was reaching that point, I guess, when I think she was looking for something more serious, and I was just a young lad. So I hadn't really put it all together in my mind that, this was it for the rest of my life. I was just still riding bikes and going to Europe every year from 17 onwards. I rode my motorcycles all over Europe. Just strapped a few things on the back of the bike, tent, sleeping bag, a few bits and pieces. My older brother once took him all around Europe together. We went. And anyway, so my life was all about that. And so I decided to upgrade my bike at the time, because I had an old Triumph Bonneville and I thought I'd get a Moto Guzzi 850 California, because I'd watched the film Chips, with California Highway Patrol. It was for Chips, actually. I think it was another motorcycle show film where they rode this sort of massive Harley, Electric Glide in Blue, that's the words. And Electric Glide in Blue, I thought to myself, I need an 850 Guzzi California with all the spotlights on, make it look like a police bike. And my dad said, no, absolutely not. He said, in the 70s, Italian bikes were not that reliable. And so he steered me down the path of a BMW, and he was right, because electrics were not great on Guzzis at the time. I did buy one many years later, and I found out to my cost how bad they were. But my heart wasn't really in the BMW. But anyway, I got an R87, and I did actually like it. It was a really nice bike, super efficient, perfect German engineering. But just before I bought it, it was a lot of money back then, a lot of money. And my girlfriend's dad pulled me into the study. It's absolutely true, this. And he said to me, I hear, young man, that you are about to buy an expensive motorcycle. And I said, that's right, I am. I said, it's a BMW. It was like £2,500 at the time, which is a staggering amount of money. So he said to me, well, the thing is, you've been going at my daughter for 4 years. What are your intentions? Honestly, you couldn't write this stuff. I promise you, he said, what are your intentions? And I said, well, I don't know. I really love her. She's great fun. We get out and about. We do things. Look at this. It's stunning. And he said, yes. He said, but you need to make a decision. And I was very naive, I think. I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, it's my daughter or the motorcycle. Absolutely true. My daughter or the motorcycle. Well, hey guys, I was 20 years old. You know what the answer is. I just bought the motorcycle. We broke up, and that was it. No, I'm not saying it was because of that, but it didn't help. and I was very happy with my motorcycle. Rode it for a few years before moving on to another bike. So I think there's a lesson here. Never ever give someone a demand, a final demand, because they're going to take it anyway. They're going to do what they want to do. And secondly, if you've never ridden a bike and you're contemplating it, it's going to change your life. You might lose your girlfriend. So there's a cautionary tale for you. So I had that bike and I rode it all over Europe. I took my brother, who's just passed away, I took him to on the back. We went over to Germany, had some fun there. That's another story. And then I think I sold it, and I'm just struggling to remember what it was I bought after that. I think it was a Harley Davidson. Yes, it was a Harley Sportster. And then started sort of 20 years on Harleys. Funny enough, those B&Ws are collector's bikes now, those R87s, the R100, R100 RS. They're great bikes and ahead of their time, they really were. They were so super reliable. You could get a fairing on that. I didn't put an Avon fairing on it, but if you bought the RT, the touring models, the BMW RTs, you know, you could just traverse Europe and not even worry about the breeze or anything like that. It was just perfect comfort. But I was very much, hey, nothing changes, still old school. Battling against the wind and strapping things on bikes that would fall off. Actually, that is a very true story. I was in the Italian Alps and with a friend of mine and a BMW car who came out, spilled out of the Swiss tunnel into, I can't remember which one, into the Italian side of the Alps, and this BMW behind me flashed his lights, and I thought, gosh, I can't go any faster on this thing, and I was racing around. So I might have mentioned it before, but we raced around the bends forever and a day, got to the bottom of the hill. It was quite funny because he's flashing and tooting his horn. I thought, I can't go any faster. I am literally out on the side of the road, you know, going as fast as I can around these dangerous bends. Anyway, by the time we got to the flat, he couldn't get me, of course, so I let him pass, but he just pulled over. And he said to me, he got out of the car, and I thought, oh, all right, what's going on here then? And he said to me, your sleeping bag fell off. So I said, what? He said, yeah, right at the top, your sleeping bag fell off. I've been trying to, you know, flash my lights and get you to slow down. So I went back up the hill, looked for that sleeping bag, but these are on the winding hills of, you know, coming out of this, as I say, from the Swiss side into the Italian side. It was just windy roads, and I couldn't find that sleeping bag. So I lost that, and I thought, oh no, what am I going to do? So I was very, very lucky. My girlfriend at the time, now my wife, we both worked in the airline industry. So whenever I was missing parts, I think I asked her, if not her, one of her colleagues, can you put a sleeping bag, a spare sleeping bag down the baggage belt, and I'll pick it up in Genoa Airport. So I rode the bike to Genoa Airport. Sure enough, somebody comes out, one of the wasn't the country manager, might have been the ticket desk or someone, I can't remember, came out and said, hey Nick, here you go, have a sleeping bag. And then I could continue my journey camping in France, back up through France and back home. So that was quite funny. It was always very handy actually having being in the airline industry, because you could jump on planes for virtually nothing, go anywhere in the world for virtually nothing. And of course problems like that were always sorted, because somebody knew somebody who just sort of, would meet you and give you stuff if you've forgotten anything. And I used to forget all sorts of things, lights and power units, when I did displays across the world. And as I say, I'd send a message to my girlfriend and say, please send the lights. I left them in the workshop. So I've done a lot of motorcycling around Europe, and I've always loved it actually. It's always been a lot of fun. And I think it's probably like a lot of things, it's all the misadventures, all the things that go wrong that make it so funny sometimes. As I say, your sleeping bag on the pass. Another time I went with my brother, my older brother, and it was so hot, we just rode with jeans, nothing on, and I said to him, look, we're going to get sunburn. Let's just cover ourselves in suntan lotion. Because typical English people, so white, just never see the sun. So covered ourselves in suntan lotion, rode all along the roads in Italy, back roads of Italy. And I looked down and my whole chest was just crawling with insects where they got stuck to the suntan lotion. Oh, goodness me. It was so funny. I literally was like, oh my God, I had to try and scrape them off and they were stuck on me. It was horrible. That same trip actually, we went 2,500 miles in 10 days on an old Triumph Bonneville. And we ended up in Andorra, and I'd never been to Andorra. I don't think he had actually either. So we'd come through the south of France, Saint-Tropez, all the way along to Carcassonne, and then we started to head up into Andorra, and it was quite funny because we'd left Saint-Tropez in like 40 degrees of heat, just t-shirts, everything strapped and bungeed onto the bike, open face helmet, etc. And I think by the time we got halfway up Andorra, we were starting to think it's freezing. So we put some clothes on, drove up further, stopped again, put some more clothes up, got to the top, there was snow on the mountains. We had every bit of biking gear and jumpers and everything on, and absolutely frozen. So we didn't stay long in Andorra, just drove through it, and then started to drive down the other side and started peeling off the clothes as we got into Spain and the Pyrenees. And of course by the time we arrived at the bottom, I think we're just back into t-shirts and a pair of jeans. It was so hot again. And that's another thing, isn't it, about bikes that is so great, is that you feel all the elements. You're alive. Rain, sleet, sunshine, wind, no wind. You feel it all. You're connected. You're not hidden behind the windshield. I know you know this. There's something about it. I'm never going to stop. I think my dad was like 76. He had a Triumph Bonneville 750. He stopped riding at about 76, said he couldn't manage it. It was a really heavy bike. But you know what? Worst comes to the worst, I'll just get a scooter. I'll do something like that, one of these maxi scooters or something. I don't know. Maybe an adventure scooter. Don't know. But I'll keep riding. What if I'll have more subscribers by then? I seem to be stuck on the 480 mark, so maybe in another 10 years I might just get over the 500. Nah, I'm only joking. Let's just see. I don't worry about it. I was watching some videos from Waro. I really like the guy over in Australia. He's really, really exceptionally talented and experienced at engineering, and so whenever I have a problem with my bike, and I would recommend everybody subscribe to Waro, he's really good, and you can learn a lot from him. And he was Actually, funny enough, we've got the same bike, same colour, everything. He loves this. He's just been taking it off-road. I've been watching a couple of his videos. As I said before, I'd love to do more off-road, but you know, it's just not going to work here. But he was saying that he was getting tired of trying to build a YouTube channel, and I felt like sending a message and said, you know, I was watching it and I was just saying, don't worry about it, just let it go, just enjoy it. If people want to come along for the ride, they want to come for the ride. If they don't, they don't. And I think he was, by the end of the video, saying that. He would just say he was just going to enjoy the riding now, and I think that makes a huge difference. You know, I'm very, very grateful to my 482 subscribers. Honestly, I really appreciate it. I love it, you know, that you interact with me, and 99.9% of the comments are very kind and are really nice. So I appreciate that. Thank you for that. And if I can help people test a piece of equipment, tell you what a bike's like, I don't know, answer any questions, of course I'll be more than happy to do that. So feel free to add any comments or things like that. And let's just journey together. Who knows where it's going to take us? Tell you where it'll take me in a moment is a petrol station. I've just realised my light has come on. Although these Enfields, the classic 350, you know, reborn, it does come on really early. I do notice that, and there's nothing really to panic about, which is almost like famous last words, isn't it? But seriously, I don't worry when that light comes on. You got plenty of time. I have run out of petrol before in my lifetime. I was not many times. Some of the old bikes are very unreliable, faulty gauges, and it's never been a major problem. There's always somebody who's going to help out, give you a lift, especially if they see a motorcyclist walking. I used to give you a lift to the petrol station, give you a lift back. The thing about fuel is, as well, I like to put in it's E5 in Britain. That's sort of the high grade stuff, and it seems to work better for this bike, for me. It definitely does. It flies with E5. Whereas I've put E10 in a few times and thought, oh my goodness, it's chugging. There's a sort of a gap when you accelerate. It's almost like a diesel lag. So if I can, put E5 in and pay the extra for it. I don't know if you get more miles per gallon, I don't really care. I just enjoy feeling that it's going to go. So I do need to find a petrol station that sells E5, ideally. And I think I know one. Well, I hope you've enjoyed seeing this one, watching this one. We've had a chat and a natter, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to just run this out of fuel as I head towards a petrol station, lower it, fill it up with E5, and get it ready for its next adventure. I do start my new job next week. Solar panels. I'll be selling solar panels. So I'm looking forward to that. Selling in the sort of Sussex, Surrey, maybe as far as Reading and Oxford area as well. And training the sales force, helping them to sell more. So that's going to be a lot of fun. but it might mean that I won't get the chance to ride anymore until weekends. And I've been lucky before, of course, just working for myself. If I'm off on a Friday, I just take off on a Friday. But let's see how it goes. It's all new to me. So I'm going to close it down now. Thank you for watching as always. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you real soon. Cheers everybody.